Hey, welcome back. In this video, I want to discuss what to do with respect to watering when there are heat waves or when you need to travel or when you cannot be around to water your trees. Obviously, the best thing is that you can stay all day long pampering your trees, checking if the substrate surface is dry, and then watering accordingly. But obviously, we have our day jobs, or we have to travel, or we have commitments and we cannot be for many hours. And just today we have a heat wave here. It's 32 Celsius, and that is something that requires special care. So let me discuss what's happening with the tree when there is extreme heat. But some of the solutions are also applicable for when you have to be away from your trees and need to arrange alternative ways to water. So when the temperature is high, the stomata in the leaves, they will shut down, they will close. And that is a natural physiological mechanism of the plant to prevent the loss of water through evapotranspiration. So you may notice that your pot is dry, and it's drying in part because the plant is using water to cool down, and it will be using more water to cool down, but also in part because it's evaporating from the pot. So sometimes, paradoxically, you may notice that your pot is more humid than it was in the spring, perhaps. And this is because the tree is shutting down the evapotranspiration as much as it can. It's not 100%. Now, all that aside, you still have to water. And and when you have heat waves, um, when I have heat waves, I water not just the surface of the pot as I normally do, but I also water the foliage to cool down the tree and also the benches around the pots. So what can you do when you need to travel, or you know that it's too hot and you cannot water it in 4 hours, uh, or you cannot water 4 hours after the previous watering? Uh, Obviously, the best option after you watering is to have someone properly trained to water the trees for yourself. But that is a big ask, both in terms of time commitment and responsibility for someone for a bonsai collection. So the second best option is to set up an irrigation system to be used only when uh, manual watering is not an option. And this is my case here. I have a friend who waters all the time when I'm traveling for many years, 2 or 3 weeks during the year. This person would come and water for a week. But it's a big ask, and I decided this time to try an irrigation system. Um, After consulting some friends, they they sent me an article that is linked in the description of a rainbird based sprinklers overhead, and I set up the whole system as you can see in the video, and it just didn't work for me. Even though the pressure on my garden hose is quite good for a residential dwelling at 70 psi, it was not enough to have more than perhaps 3 sprinklers working as they should. Um, Now, for my garden, I needed 22 sprinklers that originally I was planning to have split into 2 zones, such that each would have 11 sprinklers, but that wouldn't work. I would have to have at least 6 zones, each one with three or four sprinklers, and that would have increased the cost of the system to several $100s. So I just gave everything back, and instead I went with lawn sprinklers that I will show you right now. And in my case, this cost a fraction of the cost of the other system, and it seems to be working on the tests that I made. On my next trip, I will have the person that comes to water to come and check on the trees, even though the system will be running automatically. But it seems to be working, so let me show it to you. So this is the sprinkler. It's a standard lawn sprinkler that I mounted on a base, and it captures quite a big area. And on these days with a heat wave, I would put it on perhaps half an hour every 6 hours, so 4 times a day. But on normal days where there isn't a heat wave, twice a day at half an hour is probably enough. As you can see, the volume of water is quite considerable. It's almost like as if I were standing with a hose here and watering the trees. So it takes some time to adjust the intensity, the angle, the height, and then it will be some issue to remember where exactly in the garden this is. But then I have a second one over here. That will water all this region here. That does water all this region here. And then I have a third one for this corner. And a fourth one that waters this section here. So with 4 sections, each one running for half an hour in series, so one after the other. Therefore I don't lose the pressure. Each one is running with the maximal pressure that my system can provide. I can then water the entire garden over a period of 2 hours, and then either 4 hours, two more hours pass, and then it starts again on a heat wave, or every 6 or 8 or 12 hours. So I just put it on manual to show how the system works. Now it's stopped automatically, and all of this come here. I have one computer with 3 zones, and I have an older computer that I already had that has 2 zones. One goes to that area, and the other is just if I want to on the lawn here. And I also have one from my pond, which is internet connected with an Eve Aqua, and manual going to my dositron with a concentrated solution of fertilizer and vinegar to lower the pH. So every day when I'm here, I water manually with the dositron, with the water connected to the dositron. But if I'm not here, I just have to turn on, set the schedule, and I have this actually 5 different zones. This, although I'm using only for the lawn, I could have an additional sprinkler for the trees. So this is it for now, and let me give you a little view of the garden since it's been a while that I last posted. A lot of trees in development, or that are coming out of shape. This is the queen, needs a second styling already. Olive, the president, blood good Japanese maple, a willow that I really hate. This is a sort of a penjin with the branches of this tree going under and around. It has been done 3 or 4 years ago. Still has the original wire. I didn't have to unwire it yet. Bunch of trees that are not styled yet. Um, 2 more maples. 1 and 2. A honeysuckle that I hate. Tuya with a dead half, inspired by a tree by Dan Robinson. My tribute to Nick Lenz larch. Jack pine, unstyled, beautiful as it is. This is a tuya in which I did a wedge cut here, but it bent here with the force, and so this is to show that you don't really, larch are quite flexible. This tree I will actually make a air layer of this part, and the tree will be only this. A suggestion from David Johnson from Ottawa. Sorry, from Toronto. The escarpment tuya. Tuya forest, out of shape. Another tuya that is unstyled with a crazy twisting trunk. Ponderosa pine. Ponderosa pine. The snowman. Some junipers. Another collected tuya that I didn't have time to style yet. This one was styled last year. I think there is a video about it. Chasm tuya. The tuya over a rock. Beautiful. This one is unstyled. This larch here is my homage to Fudo, so I call it Fudo too. Bunch of other stuff not styled. Ginkgo, clump forest, magnolia over there, Japanese maple, berberry, amur maple. Little strovos that's been several years in this little slab. Another larch. Unfortunately it lost this branch here, so I'll have to fill it up, restyle it. Another jack pine, beautiful, with a twisting trunk. Goes like this and turns counterclockwise. And to finish, a red pine, Pinus resinosa, not styled yet. So this is it. I hope this discussion helps a bit. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, bye bye for now.